RealAgriculture.com's coverage of the Western Canadian Dairy Seminar is brought to you by Alberta Milk.
Lely Canada has been the opportunity to launch the new Lely Vector automated feeding kitchen. As the slogan says, our drive-in restaurant. It's a unique feature. It's totally run off batteries, which are recharged every day, all electric driven. It's a unique, it mixes a recipe up for the cows, drives along in the feed bunks, and puts out fresh feed. It measures the feed as it's feeding it to know when it needs to go back to push up the feed again and to provide fresh feed again. The unique feature on this is as the cow groups go up in numbers or down, it will measure the feed bunk amount of feed that's left and adjust the quantity of feed to go to it. It's a unique feature. It's a smaller TMR mixer, battery power driven, that has the ability to make smaller, more accurate rations than some of the larger tractor driven ones. So some of the areas we're looking at is being more cost effective on fuel and labor, and also more cost effective on the measuring of the ration. It's being done by a robot.
So what size of a herd does this fit?
Depending on how many groups in that herd, but it should be between that 220 to 300 cows, depending also what different feed sources they're putting in there, whether they're putting corn, alfalfa, silage, hay, straw, and what's all going in the mix. But 220 to 300. It's a little wide range, but it's unique to each farm.
One of the guys mentioned before that this is only part of the system. You've actually got, what is it, an overhead grapple?
Yes, this is what you're seeing here is the feed part that goes to the dairy cows. We also have a feed kitchen where the blocks of silage are put into, and there's a grapple that picks up the feed in smaller particles and puts it in and dumps it into the TMR mixer.
So how does that work? Do you pre-program rations in?
That's correct. The farmer puts in the ration of how much corn he wants, silage, corn, how much alfalfa silage, how much hay he wants added into the ration, and it'll automatically put in the amount of kgs that are required to make that ration successful. And we can also administer grain into the ration, which it will also tell the augers to turn on and put the correct amount in. The TMR mixer is load cell sensitive, so it's measuring the amount of feed that's in it.
So what's the drive on this? What's the drive on this? Like, is it a pull behind, or does it actually?
No, it drives on its own. It's battery driven, and it's got 4 or 5-inch wheels underneath that are battery powered, and it charges up during the day at all times to an automated charging station. And it's required for 2 hours a day, 1 hour in the first 12 hours and another hour in the last 12 hours to charge.
So does it come in different sizes?
No, one size fits it all. If farms get larger to 400 or 500 cows, then we would add another one of these vectors onto that farm. But it's the one size. The reason being is we feed on time. We don't want to have a big tub that requires more power to operate. We want to have smaller batches of feed fed more accurately and more often.
So what are we looking at for startup costs?
You're probably looking at around that. With the block cutter to put for in the feed kitchen, you're probably looking at $250,000, give or take on the size of the farm or what the options they're putting on it.
And then afterwards, if we were to buy another unit?
Then you're probably looking at only additional $100,000 for the second unit.
And what are the advantages?
The advantages: fresh feed more often, less labor. This is feeding all the time. You don't have to strategically put somebody on a tractor for an hour a day. You'll have, with putting fresh feed out more often, we should be able to increase our feed intakes. And with a robot, the grapple filling the vector, we will have more precise rations than when a human is doing it. If you have a perfect human, it could be better, but an average human, it will be better than that.